This time-tested Etsy niche brings in big bucks year after year with a massive profit margin. Let's see what this Etsy seller is doing to be so successful.
I'm Jess at Insights by Jess. I dig deep into what makes Etsy stores successful and where they can improve so that you get the full 411 on what's really selling and why. Let's jump in.
Okay, this was such an interesting store that I wasn't quite sure how to classify it at first. It's kind of like a hybrid between supplies and handmade, but with sales like these, it really was just too good to not share with y'all, especially since it's such an easy idea to do from start to finish. And I would know I'm a little bit biased because I launched a huge brand in this exact niche way, way, way back and expanded from Etsy to Amazon Prime. I think I was one of the first people to really be Amazon merchant way. I'm aging myself here, but this supported our family for years before we moved abroad. So it's safe to say I'm a little bit biased. I'm a little bit partial to this idea, but it is super, super awesome. So let's take a quick peek at their Etsy store stats. So this store has 46,541 sales. The store is called Premium Graphics USA, and as you can see, they sell decals, vinyl decals, and shirt decals, all kinds of decals. They have 103 listings here, and we are working on their stats. So let's see how long they've been selling. We're going to go to their feedback and click most recent and scroll down to their very last review, or their very first review, excuse me, the last on the list. And their first feedback was April 4th of 2018. So, like I said, this is a really time-tested niche. This has been around for a long time, and as you can see, they are selling kind of a questionable decal here, which is no longer available. So if you're thinking of getting in this niche, do not think you're gonna get rich selling a Chanel decal. You will get to shut down really quickly here. But they quickly expanded into other types of designs, which we will see as we walk through their shop. And there's one specific type of design that really pushed this store through. However, we are talking about their stats. So their average product price here is approximately $25. And as you can see, it looks a little bit all over the map here, but when we look at their actual listings, you'll see why it's a $25 price point, which is a very, very conservative price point. And if we divide all of their sales by all the years since 2018, that puts their approximate annual sales at $239,000 a year. And again, that is really, really, really conservative. So now that you know that they are rolling in cash, let's take a little bit better of a look through their actual storefront here. So, like I said before, they sell all sorts of decals, wall decals, shirt decals. And when I'm looking at a store, I always go to most recent because this is going to be stuff that is actually selling. So make sure you click that when you're looking at these stores. Once we do that, as you can see, they are a very, very popular store. So they have a lot of these little red messages here that people have these items in their cart, which is fantastic. If we scroll down here, we see that message just continuing on. This is a popular store, and it's been a popular store. This is not a new niche. This is not a new idea. So the coolest thing about this particular store or this particular niche idea is that you can make this product at home with a simple cutting machine. So like a Cricut, a Silhouette, they have all sorts of different machines from craft-based cutters like Cricut and Silhouette that I just mentioned to big professional ones like a Roland. In fact, I started out with a teeny, teeny, tiny machine called a Wishblade. This is like before Cricut came around. Comment below if you've ever heard of a Wishblade before. It was super small and the instructions were almost non-existent. I really had to kind of figure out how it worked all by myself. So it was interesting. But as my store grew, I got a silhouette cameo, which was awesome. And then eventually we grew to have 3 Roland cutters, which are huge. They're 24-inch cutters, commercial cutters. And we actually had a 2-story office in Jacksonville and a handful of employees because we really did grow so quickly. But that was before we moved abroad. I actually ended up having a heart attack while I was pregnant, which launched into a whole bunch of events and led to us deciding to move abroad to a country that had free healthcare and a very slow pace of life. So, we no longer have that business. But I still love it. I still love the idea. So, let's look at a bestseller before I end up giving you guys like my whole life story. So, this listing in particular is one of their best sellers. It is a iron-on heat transfer. So this goes on shirts or really any kind of fabric that you can think of. As long as a fabric is able to be ironed without being ruined, you could put this on it. So not silk. This idea is actually really cool because vinyl appliques are super popular. A lot of people want to get these for special events or group activities. You could get these for anything ranging from birthday parties to robotics club championships or your Boy Scout troop award ceremonies. There are literally so many uses, and the price of this type of product really depends based on the size that you choose. So as you can see, this starts with a very small decal for $6, and it goes up to a pretty large decal for like a plus size shirt, for example, or something bigger, a tablecloth, for example, for $50. So big variety in price there. If we scroll down to peek at the shipping, you can see that their shipping is free. So we don't need to add that in. But $15 is a pretty fair price for an 8 by 8 inch size. $50 for an 18 by 20 is, in my humble opinion, pretty expensive. So I do want to point out that something that is this big, something that is larger than a letter sized piece of paper, can become more expensive to ship. At this point, you're going to need to roll it, you're going to need to put it in a tube, and the postage is going to put a little bit of a damper in your profit margin because it will cost a little more to ship this. But in general, $50, even if you account for the cost of shipping, is still, in my opinion, a pretty high end price. And that's okay. If people are buying this, which clearly they are, then hey, charge what you're worth because it does take time for a design. These are custom, so there's obviously design time and talent that is going into this creation. So it does factor into the pricing of your products as well. But the supplies in general don't really cost all that much. In fact, I got all of my heat transfer supplies from this awesome company called Heat Transfer Vinyl for You. And the pricing was actually pretty competitive. I think this was one of the cheaper sizes or one of the cheaper sites that I saw. They have all different sorts of vinyl for shirts. They also offer wall vinyl as well. So it's a great resource if you are looking to get into this niche and or this niche. And this is not an affiliate or a sponsored promo. I just want to shout this particular company out because we personally ordered from them for years and the quality was always great. The selection was great and it was just easy to deal with this company, which has not been true of all of our vendors. So let's take a peek at their photos here. I absolutely love their video. This is not just showcasing the product, but it's also going over how to use, how to apply this product, which is really simple. It's really easy. You can use this with an iron. You can use this with a heat press. If you're doing this professionally, if you were making shirts like this, you would use a heat press because it's a lot more durable to hold up to washing and wearing than your home iron because it does get a lot hotter than your home iron is going to get. But it is really simple to use these and to apply these. So their video is well done. They have some great examples showing things you can put these decals on, from shirts and hoodies to tablecloths, all sorts of great examples. And then they have some information photos. So they tell you what fonts are available, logos. If you want to have your logo done, they tell you what kind of logos they can do. and what kind they cannot do. And believe it or not, it is common to get requests for these full color types of logos, which would not work for a single color decal like this. So they do try to make it very clear, like, here's what we can do. The next one shows a sizing guide so you can get an idea of how big these decals are. And they do have one that shows their premium packaging, which is great because you would be surprised how many people will ship these decals in some sloppy manner and they've arrived creased or bent or otherwise messed up. So to see that they do use shipping tubes and they use hard flat envelopes so that it protects your decals, that is really, really cool. That's really important. In my opinion, they should also add a message onto this image that does state it protects the item so that if you've never ordered a decal before and you don't really know why it matters that they have this packaging, you're flat out saying, hey, this keeps your package safe, this keeps your decal from creasing or bending, whatever. Just a little message somewhere on this image that does say this is to protect your package. Okay, so let's take a look at their actual listing SEO. In fact, before we look at their SEO, I do want to remind you guys that my store review live stream is next week. So I'm going to put the card for that up at the top here. You can click on that and click notify me so that you don't miss that live stream. You can ask me lots of questions and brainstorm ideas with me right there on the spot. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys there, and let's check out their SEO. So the title right off the bat is insanely short, super, super short. And I'm going to jump over to my workbook and see what they got going on. So 48 characters in their title. You can use 140 characters is how many Etsy lets you use. This is super, super short. And this title offers hardly any information. It does have obviously the most important words, which are iron on heat transfer, but it doesn't say anything about being custom. It doesn't say anything about being for t-shirts or fabric or any of those types of things. They could even put heat press. There's a lots of things that they could add here to fill out this title. So it is really interesting that it is so short. And we've seen a few videos that I've done recently that, especially with older sellers, do have alarmingly short titles or a general lack of SEO. So I want to take this quick second to point this out. As you grow, Etsy's algorithm learns what kinds of customers respond best to seeing your listings, just like every other type of algorithm. In fact, the more sales you get, the more Etsy learns, oh, this customer is more likely to purchase. This customer is less likely to purchase. And your SEO is going to become less important as you start dominating these search results and racking up those sales. You're feeding a lot of information into Etsy's database so that they can learn and they can get as many sales as possible. Because when you make money, Etsy also makes money. But as great as that may sound, it does leave you vulnerable to competition, especially for stores like this, which may have higher prices than competitors. And you will have people slowly start to purchase from a newer, cheaper store, and eventually that store can outrank yours in search pages. So, all you newbies, listen up. It is important to have smart SEO strategies and fair prices. And if you have not yet seen my video about how to find those best-selling products and niches, make sure you check that out here because I have got the whole process lined out for you about how to find top-selling products from start to finish. And I'm also going to be trying to put together some sort of SEO series. If you are new to Etsy, that's going to help walk you through from A to Z the steps of building a bestseller, what SEO strategies you should look for, what types of keywords you should look for, and all of that good stuff. So until this channel starts making more money, I do have to spend most of my time on the businesses that make money, but you can actually help me with that goal by buying me a coffee at my website, wink wink, and snag a few freebies while you're there as well. So anyways, let's go back to their SEO. Let's look at their description here. So right off the bat, they tell you the number one most important thing about their product. And it does have some keywords in here that there's an iron-on heat transfer vinyl. with your text or logo, and that is important. I would not qualify this as a appeal statement. I don't think this is an appeal statement by any stretch of the imagination. It doesn't make me say, "Hey, this is cool. I should buy this." So, there is some room of improvement there. That's another opportunity for anybody thinking of jumping into this niche. um, this could be spoofed up. But aside from that, they do have all of the important information in here. They have the application process. They have exactly what this is, what type of vinyl they're using. They're using Easy Weed, which is actually Scissor Easy Weed right here. If that's what you're looking for, if you're looking to be competitive with this type of product, it is one of the best types of heat transfer vinyl you can buy. So very, very great product there. And then they tell you that it will not stick if fabric softener has been applied to the fabric, which is interesting. Typically, you're going to be putting this on new garments that have not yet been washed or worn, but sometimes people might be putting it on an existing shirt, or they may wash a shirt before they iron it on, so that's an important thing to put. And then they have the washing instructions, which is also important so people know how to take care of their item. Jumping down here to their tags, we are going to see that their tags are also similarly vulnerable. So you'll start to notice if you've seen a lot of my videos, especially some of these ones with older sellers, and by old I mean before 2020, a lot of these older sellers are not really updating their tags or even their keyword strategies. So these tags in particular are relatively old. And you can see that there's some long-term tags here, but there's a lot of single word tags. And I don't really ever suggest using single words because you get up to 20 characters to use in a tag. So it is better to fill that out as much as possible. Using phrases like custom iron on decal is better than having separate tags. Some of these tags here, like image, are really, really broad and they're not serving you in search at all. That's not going to help you when someone is searching Etsy for image. They could be looking for anything. So I think that's something you want to consider is really adding in more words to make it more clear to your buyer that this is the product that they are searching for. It's really not a very specific search at all. So for a listing like this, you want to really make sure you find keywords that are relevant not just to your product that you're selling, but also to what people are specifically going to be searching for. And you can actually use sites like Key Search to find keywords. So Key Search is a really, really great site. Um, it will help you find the traffic amounts of Google searches and see what is actually out there being searched for. You can also just open Etsy and type right into their search bar. And if you type something and click it and just kind of leave it like this, a little drop down will pop up that says similar words that people are searching for. Google does the same thing. You can see the same kind of suggested search terms in Google. This is a great free way to find related terms. However, I do want to give you a little bit of a disclaimer. These algorithms are smart enough to skew the results based on things you've previously searched for or previously purchased in the past. So as you can see, images for download pops up on my suggested searches because I've looked a lot for downloadable images. I've done a lot of research for different short stores to showcase in these videos. So your suggested search might be different than mine. And that's what makes sites like Key Search really, really great because these are not going to be skewed towards you or your computer or your data. This is overall Google. You can't really see Etsy searches, but you can see Google searches, so it is really, really useful. And the nice thing about this particular one, the reason I like Key Search is because they do provide a pretty good amount of information for free. And you get a certain number of searches, without ever having to pay money. And then if you run out of searches, the paid version is pretty affordable. It's not super expensive. It's like $10 or $12 a month as of the time I'm filming this. So it is pretty affordable. Honestly, only bloggers or YouTubers or people creating a consistent flow of content would likely run out of free searches. So I will put the link to this down below in the text so you can check it out. And it is really useful, in my opinion. Totally, the free version gives you everything you should need. Okay, so I want to do a quick rundown of a second bestseller for this company. This one is actually wall decals, so not shirt decals. These can go on windows and walls and really any flat, solid surface. The SEO on this particular listing is a lot better, and as you can see, they are actually putting effort into their title. Let's take a peek. So 123 characters in this particular title. So much, much better. There's only a few more words they could probably squeeze in here. And this is geared more towards people with stores or boutiques or windows that they want to put like their business decal on. This one has another great video. This also shows how easy it is to apply this decal, which is fantastic. And they really, this is sped up, so it's obviously not this fast, but it does showcase how simple it really can be, and it shows you the tools you need while also showing the high quality of the decal itself. So very great idea. And then they have their information, they have all their available colors here for you, and some examples to check out, which is great. And then of course their packaging, and they have this interesting image, which basically says that their images are protected. They are for not to be replicated in any way. And then an image of their logo. So they probably have not sold enough of these to fill up their images, and they're just adding images like this to kind of fill it up. If we look at the options here, you can see that their smallest one, which is 12 by 12, is $40. And then their very largest one is 36 by 36, and that's $180, which, considering they're probably designing this from start to finish, if we look at their example here, if they have to design this from start to finish, it can take a few hours to create the design and optimize it for a decal. And 36 by 36 is pretty large. In fact, they're probably shipping this in two pieces because it would be really difficult to apply a decal that big to a surface without damaging it or ruining it. It would be a lot easier for a customer to apply this in pieces. But that is a pretty big profit margin. That is also a high price. So even factoring things like design time in here, this is a good profit margin. If we look here on Etsy, which is not the cheapest source of supplies by any means, you can see that you can get a 12-inch by 10-foot piece of decal vinyl for about $12. And it is free shipping. In addition to the vinyl needed for the actual decal, you also need the transfer tape. So if you look here, back at the video here, as you can see, this blue part is what the vinyl actually comes on. Then you need to overlay it with this sticker paper, this clear sticker paper. Sometimes it's not clear, sometimes it's white. It's transfer tape or backing paper. That is actually $15 for a 10-foot by 12-inch wide roll. So you would need to make it in pieces, which you would need to do anyways because they do not even sell this material in 36-inch wide sizes. So no matter what, you're doing this in pieces. So you could, for 12 inches on a 10-foot roll, have a little bit extra. So $15, also free shipping, and $12 for the vinyl itself. So we're talking less than $30 for top rated quality vinyl and backing paper. Oracal is one of the best companies you can possibly buy for vinyl materials. So, accounting for your design time and all of that good stuff, $180 is high. And that really does give some room for competitors to come in here with lower prices, especially if they're fast at designing and they can pump these things out quickly. They could easily compete with a lower price. And as you start getting good feedbacks and climbing those rankings, you're going to start to outpace some of these more established sellers like this one. And I also want to mention that vinyl decals have been around in the US for well over a decade now. I started selling them over a decade ago. So they are a more saturated niche in the US, but there are a lot of countries that are just starting to catch on to this idea and just starting to say, hey, these are cool, especially like the UK and in Western Europe. Decals are far less competitive. And if you are capable of shipping to those countries, that is a good opportunity to grow. And especially if you're based in one of these companies, this can be a really powerful niche idea for you because the competition is less than it is in the US. You could still compete in the US, but you would compete a lot faster and a lot easier if you are in Western Europe or the UK. So let's go back to their SEO. Let's look at their tags here. We can see they are using much, much better tags on this one. And because this is a vinyl decal, not a shirt decal, but like a window or a door decal or a wall decal, this is more competitive. They cannot really get away with those single word tags. So these are much better tags to be using. That it's keeping them much more competitive. So this particular listing is not as vulnerable to competition as their heat transfer listing for shirts. But in general, if we go back to their storefront, we can see that this is such a popular idea. These are really common. They are in demand. And a lot of, for example, you can get car decals, you can get wall decals. Businesses use these. MLM sellers buy a lot of car decals to put on their back windshield, for example, especially in the US. There are mirror decals for this one's for a wedding, a QR code. Like there are endless ideas for doing decals. And where this seller is obviously excelling is in the custom work, in the creating custom design specific for one seller, and their prices are high, so they are actually getting a great profit margin on this. If you are looking to get in a niche like this is a great store to use as an example for what types of products are in demand and not only what to do for SEO, but as we saw in the first example, what not to do in the SEO. If you have better pricing and great SEO, you really can jump in here and dominate this niche as you grow your sales and as you stack up that feedback. But if you're looking for something that is a little less hands-on and a bit more of a passive income with great room for growth, you should check out one of these awesome digital products that are selling like hotcakes. You can check these videos out here.